I thought my husband's monthly business trips were for his career, until I saw him holding another woman's son, calling him dad. He casually dismissed it as premarital sperm donation, but I discovered that my recently miscarried child was the medicinal introduction he had planned to save that illegitimate child. What he really wanted was my child's umbilical cord blood. The hustle and bustle of Los Angeles International Airport was like a tide, crashing against my fragile nerves after just experiencing a miscarriage. The emptiness of some part of my body being forcibly stripped away, accompanied by the faint throbbing in my lower abdomen, reminded me that I had lost an unformed life. I sat on the cold metal bench, clutching my phone, refreshing the flight information again and again. Ethan, my husband, is coming back from his business trip today. I need him, more than ever. I need his hug, his comfort, even if he just sits silently by my side. It can dispel some of the chill that occupies my heart. After the miscarriage surgery, the doctor told me to rest, but I insisted on coming to the airport. I want to see him as soon as possible, tell him that our child is gone, and then hide in his arms and cry. I subconsciously stroked the faded old cloth monkey hanging on my quabao shoulder bag. The stitches were a little rough, and the cotton was no longer full, but it was the first gift Ethan gave me, our love token. He said I was like a nimble and somewhat silly little monkey. We had just confirmed our relationship at that time, and it was so sweet that it could be squeezed with water. Auntie, you're monkey. A timid childish voice sounded beside me. I turned my head and saw a little boy of about 4 or 5 years old, staring at the cloth monkey on my bag with a pair of big, bright eyes. He had very fair skin and delicate features like a porcelain doll, but there was a kind of stubbornness in his eyes that was inconsistent with his age. A young woman stood next to the boy, wearing a well-tailored champagne-colored dress, with delicate makeup and perfectly coiffed long curly hair. She looked very young, at most 27 or 8, but her eyes held a kind of scrutiny and a subtle hostility. This made me a little uncomfortable. Leo, don't touch other people's things. The woman gently tugged the boy, her voice gentle, but the discomfort grew stronger when her eyes swept over me. I forced a smile. It's okay, but the little boy was insistent, pointing at my monkey with his little finger. Mommy, look, it's the kind of monkey Daddy talked about. His pronunciation was clear, and his voice was loud. The woman's face seemed to stiffen for a moment, then returned to normal, and she coaxed softly, Leo, be good, we'll wait for Daddy to come out. Daddy? My heart skipped a beat, and a strange premonition gripped me. Just then, the flow of people reaching the exit surged, and I saw Ethan at a glance. He was wearing a well-ironed dark gray suit. His figure was tall and straight, and he was particularly eye-catching even in the crowd. The fatigue of the journey didn't seem to leave a trace on his face, and he was smiling and talking to the person next to him. My heart was instantly filled with immense joy and grievance, and I was about to get up to meet him, but I was nailed to the spot by the scene before me. The little boy named Leo rushed out like a small cannonball, opened his arms, and excitedly threw himself at Ethan, clearly shouting, Daddy, Daddy, you're back. Time seemed to stand still at this moment. I watched Ethan, my husband, bend down with utter naturalness and steadily hold the child. The gentle smile on his face was familiar to me, and he even rubbed his chin against the boy's soft hair. Then, the woman in the champagne-colored dress, Sophia, also stepped forward with a smile. She naturally reached out, took Ethan's hand that was holding the child, and then, tiptoeing, quickly planted a kiss on the side of his face. Ethan didn't dodge at all. He even turned his head and whispered something to her, which made Sophia smile like a flower. The three of them stood together, like a warm and harmonious family portrait, but me, like an outsider, or rather, like a ridiculous mistake forgotten in a corner. The airport announcements, the noise of the crowd, the muffled sound of my heart being hammered, all the sounds mixed together and quickly moved away from me. The world turned into a buzzing blank. I can't feel the pain in my abdomen anymore, only a cold numbness spreading from the top of my head to the soles of my feet. The man I had longed for day and night, the one I thought was my destination and haven, is now holding another woman and child, laughing so naturally, so blindingly. The cloth monkey on the bag, the token that symbolizes the beginning of our love, is now a huge irony, silently mocking my naivety and stupidity. Ethan finally noticed me. He was holding Leo, holding Sophia's hand, and about to walk out when his eyes inadvertently scanned my side, and then suddenly stopped. The smile on his face instantly froze, and a subtle hint of panic flashed in his eyes. but it was quickly replaced by composure. He whispered something to Sophia, and Sophia nodded, leading Leo a few steps away, but her eyes still lingered on me, with a victor's air. Ethan walked quickly towards me, with that familiar, soothing smile on his face. "Olivia, what are you doing here? I told you to stay home and rest." His voice was as gentle as ever, but to me, it sounded hypocritical and cold. If I hadn't come, how would I have seen this good show of family reunion? My voice was dry and hoarse, with a tremor that I myself hadn't noticed. Ethan's expression changed. He tried to reach out and help me. Olivia, listen to my explanation. It's not what you think. I suddenly waved his hand away, with a force that startled even myself. Not what I think. Then what is it? Ethan, that child called you dad. That woman kissed you. Tell me, what am I supposed to think? My questioning attracted scattered glances from around. Ethan obviously didn't want to make a scene here. He lowered his voice, his tone with a hint of pleading. Olivia, let's go home and talk, okay? There are too many people here. You just had surgery. Your health is important. Health is important? I felt like I heard a huge joke, and tears finally burst out of my eyes. Yes, my health is very important. Otherwise how could I have children for you? Oh, that's right. You already have a child. Ethan frowned, grabbed my arm, and forcefully pulled me towards a less crowded area. Come with me. Sophia watched from a distance, holding Leo, her expression complex. That child named Leo was still curiously staring at the monkey on my bag. Ethan half-dragged, half-pulled me to a secluded corner, and finally let go of me. Olivia, calm down. He took a deep breath, as if organizing his words. That child, Leo, he is indeed my son, but it was before we got married. An accident. Accident? I sneered. What kind of accident allows you to go on a business trip for a fixed month every year to be with them, mother and son? Ethan's eyes flickered. It's not what you think. It's, before we got married, when I was young and ignorant, I participated in an anonymous sperm donation. I had no idea who the recipient was until a few years ago when Sophia came to my door with a child. Sperm donation? This word was like a needle, piercing my last bit of fantasy. So, you donated sperm before we got married, and coincidentally the recipient found you? And with a child who looks so much like you? Yes, I know it sounds outrageous, but that's the way it is. Ethan's tone sounded sincere. She found me after we were married. She said she just wanted the child to know who his father was and didn't want to break up my family. Leo isn't very healthy and needs care, so I take a month each year to go see him. I swear, there is absolutely nothing more than friendship between Sophia and me. At the airport just now, she took the initiative to kiss you and hold your hand, and you just accepted it? I interrupted him, my voice icy. Ethan, do you take me for a fool? A month-long business trip Every time you go on a business trip you go to the same place and stay at the same hotel. Is it because that city is busy with business or because your other home is there? Ethan's face turned pale. Olivia, I admit I lied to you, and I shouldn't have kept it from you, but I was really afraid you would overthink it and that it would affect our relationship. Sophia and I, it really is just for the child. For the child? I stared into his eyes, trying to find a trace of sincerity, but I only saw evasion and calculation. That child is called Leo, Long Yuanzhou. Ethan, do you remember? We once chose a name for our future child, called Orion. You said you hoped he would be brave and bright like the Orion constellation. Leo, Orion, don't you think that's quite a coincidence? As I said this name, I clearly saw Ethan's pupils shrink suddenly. In that instant, I knew that the so-called sperm donation and the so-called premarital accident were all complete and utter lies. Just then, my phone vibrated, a WhatsApp message from an unknown number. I subconsciously clicked it open, and the screen displayed a shocking photo, Ethan holding Leo, Sophia snuggling beside him, the three of them smiling radiantly, with the Disney theme park castle in the background. And the phone in Ethan's hand was the same model as the one I could see sticking out of his pocket now. But the phone case was different. I remembered that the phone case he's using now is a custom one I gave him for our last anniversary, but the phone case in the photo, I had never seen it before. I suddenly looked up and stared intently at the phone in Ethan's pocket. Ethan seemed to sense something and subconsciously tried to push the phone further into his pocket. I moved faster and snatched his phone. Sure enough, it wasn't the custom phone case I gave him, but a strange one with a cartoon pattern. I swiped the screen, no password. The latest photo in the album was the Disney group photo sent by WhatsApp just now. And more. They were at the beach, in restaurants, in a home environment, countless intimate photos of them as a family of 3. So, he had 2 phones. One was used to contact me, maintaining the facade of our loving couple. The other belonged to his secret life, belonging to Sophia and Leo. The evidence was conclusive, and the lies were torn to shreds. Huge anger and humiliation instantly overwhelmed me. I raised my hand and slapped Ethan hard across the face with all my strength. A crisp smack echoed sharply in the empty corner. Ethan's head was turned by the blow, and 5 finger marks quickly appeared on his face. Before he could react, a small figure rushed over suddenly. It was Leo. Like an enraged little beast, he used all his strength to headbutt me in the stomach. "You're not allowed to hit my daddy." Agony. An indescribable pain exploded in my lower abdomen and quickly spread throughout my body. It was the most vulnerable place. Having just undergone surgery, my vision went black, cold sweat instantly broke out, and my body uncontrollably curled up, almost collapsing to the ground. Ethan finally reacted, pulling Leo away and roaring with a pale face. "Leo, what are you doing?" Sophia also rushed over, anxiously checking on Leo, but saying, "Oh dear, children don't understand. Olivia, are you all right? It's all because our Leo is too protective of his father." Her tone sounded concerned, but her eyes hid a subtle hint of triumph. I was in too much pain to speak, and could only desperately clutch my lower abdomen, cold sweat pouring from my forehead. Ethan looked at my painful state, his eyes complex, with panic, concern, but more of an annoyance and helplessness after being caught with a secret. He ultimately chose to first soothe the frightened Leo, or rather, frightened more by the yelling of his own father. Instead of checking on my injuries first, he crouched down and coaxed Leo in a tone I had never heard before, an extremely gentle one. "It's okay, Daddy's here, don't cry." Sophia chimed in from the side. "Olivia, don't scare the child, he didn't do it on purpose." Didn't do it on purpose? A 4 or 5-year-old child, using all his strength to crash into the abdomen of a woman who had just lost her child. This isn't ignorance. This is malice that has been instigated. The sharp pain in my abdomen made me almost unable to stand, and my vision went black. Ethan finally realized the seriousness of the problem. He hurriedly picked me up and said to Sophia, "You take Leo back first. I'll take Olivia to the hospital." Sophia's eyes flashed with reluctance, but she nodded, took the still sobbing Leo, and turned to leave. Before leaving, she looked back at me, her eyes full of provocation and demonstration. On the way to the hospital, Ethan tried to explain, repeating the same old story about sperm donation before marriage, just for the child, and no feelings for Sophia. I closed my eyes, not wanting to hear a single word. The pain in my body was far less than 1/10,000th of the pain in my heart. This man I had loved for 5 years and trusted for 5 years had woven a huge deception with one lie after another, trapping me in it, like a fool worrying about his so-called career, and rejoicing for his every safe return. Upon arriving at the hospital emergency room, the doctor's expression turned grave after the examination. The impact had caused internal bleeding and needed immediate treatment, just as the doctor was asking about the situation. And I was enduring the pain while intermittently explaining that I was hit by a child. Sophia actually appeared at the emergency room entrance with Leo. She looked anxious, her eyes were red, and she looked at Ethan as if he was a savior. "Ethan." Leo kept crying, saying he was afraid something would happen to that aunt, so I had to bring him to see. "I'm sorry, Olivia, it's all our fault." Leo really knows he was wrong. Her performance, full of sincere emotion, immediately attracted the attention of the surrounding patients and their families. Ethan subconsciously stepped forward, in front of Sophia and Leo, and whispered, "Why are you here? Didn't I tell you to go back first?" His protective stance completely changed the way it looked to others. Sophia was on the verge of tears, holding Leo's hand. The child was frightened and insisted on coming to apologize. "Olivia, please forgive us, we didn't mean to." Leo also cooperated, timidly hiding behind Sophia, and whispered, "Auntie, I'm sorry." Immediately, some onlookers who didn't know the truth started whispering, "TSK, TSK, this man has a family and brought his child out." and got caught by his wife? Looking at that woman, referring to me, with her aggressive demeanor, she probably isn't someone to be trifled with. It's wrong for that little boy to bump into people, but in broad daylight like this, it's too much for the wife to make a scene. I think it's the mistress bringing her child to the door, and the wife is not willing to let it go, right? And that man is still protecting the younger one. TSK. All kinds of nasty guesses and discussions pricked at me like needles. What chilled me to the bone the most was that Ethan, my husband, when he heard these discussions, and even when some people accused me of being a mistress and a shrew, he actually chose to remain silent. He didn't defend me with a single word. He acquiesced to the misunderstandings of others, acquiesced to the idea that I was the bad woman who broke up someone else's family. A surge of anger mixed with immense sorrow overwhelmed my reason. I struggled to sit up from the examination bed, and although the sharp pain in my abdomen made me sweat profusely, I couldn't allow myself to be humiliated without understanding why. Enough, I shouted with all my might, my voice trembling with weakness, but clear enough. All of you, shut up. The emergency room fell silent instantly. All eyes focused on me. I looked at Ethan and asked, word by word, Ethan Miller, we've been married for 5 years, right? Ethan's face turned pale, his lips moved, but he didn't say anything. I looked at Sophia again, this MS. Sophia, your son Leo, is 4.5 years old this year, right? Sophia's eyes flickered, and she didn't say a word. I sneered and swept my gaze over the onlookers. Everyone, listen clearly, I am Olivia Chen, and his, I pointed to Ethan, legally married wife of 5 years. This child is the illegitimate child he had with this MS. Sophia after cheating during our marriage. It's not some premarital sperm donation. It's not some accident. He told me that going on a business trip for a month every year was for work, but in reality, he was going to be with them, mother and child. Just now, at the airport, I saw him hugging this child and this MS. Sophia kissing him with my own eyes. I just had a miscarriage and am physically weak. This 4.5-year-old child rushed over and hit my lower abdomen hard, causing me to bleed. Now, they are running to the hospital to put on a tragic scene, trying to gain sympathy, and want to put the blame of being a mistress and a shrew on me? My voice grew louder and louder, filled with suppressed anger and grievance. MS. Sophia, since you said you don't want to ruin my family and just want the child to know who their father is, then why did you kiss my husband in public at the airport? Why are you bringing the child to the hospital now, putting on this pitiful look for whom? Are you really that naive, or do you have ulterior motives? Sophia was asked by me until her face turned pale, stuttering, unable to speak. Ethan finally couldn't bear it anymore. He stepped forward, trying to smooth things over. Olivia, don't get excited. Your health is important. Whatever it is, let's go home and talk. Go home? I looked at him, my eyes cold. Ethan, even now, you're still protecting them? When you allowed others to call me a mistress, did you ever think about our 5 years of relationship? Did you ever think about the child I just lost? I didn't. Ethan tried to explain. You just feel ashamed. You think it's a family scandal that shouldn't be aired in public, right? I interrupted him. Your face is more important than my grievances and my health. The surrounding discussions immediately changed direction, and gazes of accusation and disdain were cast upon Ethan and Sophia. Sophia probably didn't expect that I would disregard everything and publicly fall out with her. She held Leo, and her face was extremely unpleasant. Ethan looked at the resolute look in my eyes and finally panicked. He tried to approach me, his tone softening. Olivia, I know I was wrong. It's all my fault. Don't be angry. Let's see a doctor first, okay? I'll make it up to you for the rest of my life. My remaining life is all yours. The rest of my life is all mine? I laughed bitterly. Ethan, do you think I would still care? A remaining life full of lies and betrayal? I looked at Leo, who had been hiding behind Sophia and was now secretly pulling on the cloth monkey on my bag. One arm of the monkey was almost torn off by him. Also, I pointed to the monkey in Leo's hand. This monkey is a token of love between Ethan and me. Leo, has no one ever taught you that you can't just take other people's things? A 4.5-year-old child who bumps into people, lies, and steals things. MS. Sophia, is this your upbringing? Sophia's face turned completely red. She snatched the monkey back and stuffed it into my bag, still trying to defend herself. He's just a child. Yes, he's just a child. I withdrew my gaze and looked at Ethan, the last trace of warmth disappearing from my eyes. Ethan, let's get divorced. I spoke these 5 words with unusual calmness, but they were like a boulder thrown into the water, stirring up 1,000 waves. Ethan's face turned pale instantly. Olivia, what? What are you saying? Divorce? No, I don't agree. We can't get divorced. Why not? I retorted. Do you want me to continue living with you and your /other family /? Ethan, don't you find it disgusting? I find it disgusting. No, Olivia, I only love you. Sophia and I are really just for Leo. I can break off all contact with her. I promise. Ethan promised anxiously, trying to grasp at the last straw. But I no longer believe a single word he says. It takes more than one cold day to freeze 3 feet of ice. Everything that happened today is just the last straw that broke the camel /s back. Those details that I once ignored now flashed through my mind like a movie replay, his frequent overtime and business trips, never letting his phone out of his sight, his evasiveness on certain topics, and his extraordinary concern for my pregnancy this time. The doctor stopped the farce in time, asked irrelevant people to leave the emergency room, and arranged further examinations and treatment for me. Lying in the hospital bed, the pain in my body was gradually suppressed by the anesthetic, but the wound in my heart became more and more clearly felt with a dull pain in the silence. Ethan was stopped outside the ward, but he obviously didn't leave. I could hear him pacing anxiously outside, and the sound of him and Sophia arguing in low voices. My phone rang. It was my best friend, Chloe. Olivia, how are you? I heard from Jason that Ethan is coming back today. Did you pick him up? Are you feeling all right? Chloe's voice sounded worried. Jason is Chloe's husband and also a lawyer. I took a deep breath, trying to make my voice sound calm. Chloe, I'm fine. It's just that something happened. What's wrong? You don't sound right. Chloe immediately noticed something was off with me. I was silent for a moment, and finally decided to tell her about it. After all, I would only feel worse if I kept this kind of thing to myself. Ethan, he cheated on me and even had a child with someone else who is over 4 years old. I tried to use concise language to tell Chloe what happened at the airport. The other end of the phone was silent for a long time, so long that I thought the signal had been lost. Olivia, are you serious? Ethan, how could he do something like that? Chloe's voice was full of shock and disbelief. It /s true, I said with a wry smile. I saw it with my own eyes. The child is over 4 years old and calls him dad. That woman kisses him. They are a family. That bastard. Chloe cursed angrily. Olivia, where are you now? At the hospital? How are you? Do you want me to come and be with you? I /am at the hospital. Just finished the examination. My body is okay. Chloe, I want a divorce. Divorce? You must divorce. Why keep such a scumbag? Olivia, don't worry. Leave the divorce to Jason and me. We will definitely help you fight for the greatest rights. Chloe said decisively. The most important thing for you now is to take care of yourself. Don't think about anything else. Jason happens to be handling a divorce case. I'll have him contact you immediately. Shortly after hanging up the phone, Jason called. After a brief understanding of the situation, Jason told me to focus on recovering and that he would handle the divorce entirely, telling me not to worry. With the support of my best friend and lawyer friend, I felt a little more at ease, but with it came more questions and resentment. Why did Ethan keep it from me? For 5 whole years, he turned me, his family, his friends, and even himself into actors, all co-starring in an absurd play called Loving Couple. Also, why was that child named Leo so obsessed with the cloth monkey on my bag? Why did he hit my lower abdomen so accurately? Did Sophia really bring the child to the hospital accidentally? Or was all of this a planned performance? The more I thought about it, the more I felt something was wrong. Many details that I had previously overlooked now seemed suspicious. For example, Ethan seems to have been indirectly inquiring about my menstrual cycle and ovulation period, urging me to prepare for pregnancy as soon as possible. He also bought a lot of prenatal health products, saying it was for eugenics. Also, since I became pregnant, he has been unusually concerned about my physical condition, even more nervous than I am myself. If I feel a little uncomfortable, he acts as if a major enemy is approaching, insisting on taking me to the hospital for a checkup. Furthermore, on the day of my miscarriage, although he seemed very sad, I always felt that his sadness seemed to lack a trace of genuine emotion, and instead felt more like a sense of relief. At the time, I just thought I was being too sensitive, but now that I think about it, I feel a chill down my spine. Could it be that he urged me to prepare for pregnancy, paid so much attention to my physical condition after I became pregnant, and even seemed so calm after my miscarriage? Is all of this related to Leo? A terrifying thought emerged in my mind. Ethan, could he be trying to use me and my child to achieve some ulterior motive? Once this thought arose, it grew wildly like weeds, and could no longer be contained. The more I thought about it, the more likely it seemed, and the more frightened I became. No, I have to find out. I struggled to get up, pulled out the 4-tube from my hand, and insisted on checking out of the hospital despite the nurse's obstruction. I'm going to the hospital to check my pregnancy medical records. I need to find out what you're hiding from me, Ethan. I went directly to the private hospital we often go to and found my obstetrician, Dr. Wilson. Dr. Wilson is an experienced and kind female doctor who performed most of my pregnancy checkups. Olivia, what brings you here? Are you feeling better? Dr. Wilson was surprised to see me and very concerned. Dr. Wilson, I'd like to check my previous pregnancy medical records. Is that possible? I said straightforwardly. Of course. Dr. Wilson nodded, signaling the assistant to pull up my electronic medical records. What aspects are you interested in seeing? I want to see, Ethan, my husband. Has he ever looked at my medical records? Or, has he consulted you about my pregnancy or the fetus? I asked as calmly as possible, but my palms were sweating nervously. Dr. Wilson paused for a moment, seeming a little hesitant. Dr. Wilson, please, tell me the truth. I pleaded earnestly. This is really important to me. Dr. Wilson sighed and finally nodded. Okay, Olivia, I can tell you. Mr. Ethan did come to me a few times to ask about your pregnancy. My heart sank suddenly. As expected, what did he ask? I pressed. He asked, mainly about the umbilical cord blood of the fetus. Dr. Wilson recalled. He asked if the umbilical cord blood of the fetus could still be used normally if the pregnant woman had a history of miscarriage and became pregnant again. He also asked if umbilical cord blood could be used to treat thalassemia. Thalassemia. My brain buzzed and went blank for a moment. Thalassemia. Leo, I finally understand. It all makes sense now. Ethan urged me to get pregnant, not because he wanted a child, but because he needed a healthy pregnant woman, a container that could provide umbilical cord blood for Leo. He paid abnormal attention to my pregnancy, not because he cared about me, but because he cared about whether my body was healthy enough to produce a qualified source of umbilical cord blood. After my miscarriage, he appeared calm, not because he wasn't sad, but because his plan had failed and he no longer needed me as a container, so he was relieved. The so-called premarital sperm donation, the so-called accident, were all just a smokescreen. He had planned all of this from the very beginning. He took advantage of my love and my trust, treating me like a childbearing tool, a medicinal primer that could be used to save his illegitimate child. And I was so stupid to think that he loved me and wanted to build a real family with me. I felt a wave of nausea, a chill that emanated from the very depths of my bones. This man, he not only betrayed my feelings, but also attempted to use my child to save another child. He is simply insane. I can't describe my mood at the moment. Anger, humiliation, sorrow, despair, all kinds of emotions intertwined, almost tearing me apart. I staggered out of the hospital, feeling like the whole world was spinning. The sunlight in Los Angeles was still blinding, but it couldn't penetrate my cold heart. I wandered aimlessly down the street, my mind in a state of chaos. I didn't know what to do, where to go. I just felt a breath stuck in my chest, a fire of anger that wanted to destroy everything. Suddenly, my phone rang. It was Ethan calling. I looked at the name flashing on the screen, a cold smile creeping onto my lips. Very good. I was just worried about not being able to find him, and he delivered himself to my door. I answered the phone, my voice as cold as ice. Ethan Miller, where are you? Ethan's cautious voice came from the other end of the phone. Olivia, where are you? I've been waiting for you at the hospital. Where did you go? How's your health? What did the doctor say? Stop pretending. Ethan, aren't you tired? I interrupted his hypocritical concern. I don't want to hear your nonsense right now. I just want to ask you one thing. Is it true that Leo has thalassemia? There was instant silence on the other end of the phone. A few seconds later, Ethan's voice came again, with a hint of panic. Olivia, what are you talking about? I don't understand. Don't understand? I sneered. Ethan, how long are you going to keep pretending? Dr. Wilson has already told me that you asked her about umbilical cord blood and about thalassemia. Are you still trying to quibble? Ethan was completely silent. I knew it. I guessed right. Ethan Miller, you're such a beast. I roared into the phone, my voice trembling with anger. You used my pregnancy, used my child, just to save your illegitimate son. What do you take me for? A birthing tool? Your medicinal primer? No. Olivia, listen to me. It's not what you think. Ethan's voice was full of panic and pleading. I admit, Leo, he does have thalassemia, and the doctor said that umbilical cord blood transplantation is the best treatment. I admit I asked Dr. Wilson about umbilical cord blood, but I really didn't think about using you, about hurting our child. I just wanted to do everything I could to save Leo. He's my son too. Your son? I repeated these 3 words, feeling extremely sarcastic. Ethan, you keep saying you love me, that I am the most important person to you, but what about it? For your illegitimate son, you didn't hesitate to deceive me, use me, and even sacrifice my child. Is this your love? Is this your importance? Olivia, I really love you. I swear, I never wanted to hurt you. I just didn't know what to do. Leo is very ill, and I can't just watch him die. Ethan's voice was tearful. Olivia, please, forgive me this once, okay? I promise I will make it up to you in the future. I will give you all my love. Please don't leave me. Compensate? How will you compensate? With the rest of your life? Ethan, the rest of your life will only make me feel disgusted, I said coldly. Also, Ethan Miller, listen carefully. I'm not only going to divorce you, but I'm also going to make you leave with nothing. I want you to have nothing. This is the price you pay for betraying me. After speaking, I hung up the phone hard, and then unhesitatingly blacklisted Ethan's number. I took a deep breath, trying to calm my turbulent emotions. Divorce, leaving with nothing. I will make him pay the most painful price for everything he has done. I returned home and started packing. This home, once filled with warmth and sweetness, now only held coldness and mockery for me. Every item seemed to be a silent mockery of me and my foolishness. I didn't want to keep a single thing of Ethan's. Clothes, shoes, books, CDs, even his used toothbrush and razor. I packed everything up and threw it in the trash can. Our wedding photos were torn to shreds and flushed down the toilet. Those gifts he gave me, including that old cloth monkey, were also thrown into the trash bag without any mercy. I want to completely erase every trace of this man from my life. After packing up my things, I called Jason to arrange a meeting to discuss the specifics of the divorce. Jason was very efficient and drafted the divorce agreement for me the next day. In the agreement, I demanded that Ethan leave with nothing and compensate me for emotional distress and the physical harm caused by the miscarriage. I know Ethan definitely won't easily agree to leave with nothing, but he has no choice. His biggest secret has been exposed by me. Once I make the truth public, he will not only be discredited, but may even face legal sanctions. After all, he did not hesitate to deceive and exploit his wife in order to achieve his goals, which has violated the bottom line of morality and law. I arranged to meet Ethan at the law firm to formally sign the divorce agreement. Ethan was half an hour late for the appointment. He looked haggard, with a stubbly beard, dark circles under his eyes, and he looked like he had aged 10 years. When he saw me, his eyes were filled with complex emotions, and he hesitated to speak. Ethan Miller, sign it. I pushed the divorce agreement in front of him, my tone icy. Jason has already told you the contents of the agreement. You should be very clear about it. Ethan picked up the agreement and quickly scanned it. His face turned even paler. Olivia, do you really have to go this far? His voice was hoarse, with a hint of pleading. Leave with nothing? Do you really want me to be left with nothing? Or what? Do you think I should be grateful to you? Thank you for letting me see your true colors, and then continue to live a happy life with you? I retorted, my tone mocking. Ethan was choked by my words and couldn't speak. He was silent for a moment, then raised his head, his eyes filled with despair. Olivia, I know I was wrong. I deserve to die. I don't ask you to forgive me. I only ask you, can you give me a chance? For the sake of our 5 years of relationship, can you not make me leave with nothing? 5 years of relationship? I sneered. Ethan, how dare you mention 5 years of relationship to me? These 5 years, you have been deceiving me, using me. Your so-called relationship is just a carefully designed scam. Do you think I will still believe your chance? Olivia, Ethan wanted to say something, but I interrupted him directly. Ethan, sign it. This is your only chance. I pointed to the agreement. If you refuse to sign, I will expose everything you've done, including how you deceived me, how you used me, and how you sacrificed my child for your illegitimate son. By then, you will not only lose everything, but also be completely discredited. And even possibly, I'll sign. Ethan finally broke down. He picked up the pen and signed his name on the divorce agreement with trembling hands. The moment I saw him sign, I didn't feel the expected pleasure. Instead, I felt a sense of emptiness and exhaustion. 5 years of relationship had finally come to an end, in such a shameful way. After completing the divorce formalities, Ethan tried one last time to salvage the situation. Olivia, I know it's too late for me to say anything now, but I still want to say, Ethan Miller, I interrupted him, my tone calm and resolute. From today onwards, there is absolutely no relationship between us anymore. I hope you never appear in front of me again, never disturb my life again, and, Ethan, I hope you get your karmic retribution. May every lightning strike hit you. After speaking, I turned and left, without looking back. After the divorce, I quit my old job, moved out of that house filled with painful memories, and started a new life. Chloe stayed by my side, helping me with various trivial matters and encouraging me to cheer up. With her support, I started trying new jobs, learning new skills, and gradually, life began to get back on track. A few months later, Chloe and I went on vacation to Hawaii. The sun, beaches, and waves temporarily soothed the pain in my heart. One day, Chloe and I were walking on the beach when we saw a couple of familiar figures in the distance. Ethan, and Sophia, and Leo. The family of 3 is also vacationing here. Ethan seemed to see us too. He paused for a moment, then walked towards us. Olivia. He hesitated, his eyes filled with complicated emotions. I looked at him coldly, without saying a word. Leo saw me. His eyes immediately became alert and hostile. He grabbed Sophia's hand tightly, his body trembling slightly. Olivia. Ethan wanted to say something, but Sophia interrupted him. Ethan, what's there to say to her? Let's go, Sophia said unhappily, pulling on Ethan's arm. Ethan looked at Sophia, then at me, and ultimately chose to leave with Sophia. Leo glared at me fiercely before leaving, his eyes full of resentment. Chloe and I continued to walk forward, neither of us speaking. The atmosphere was a bit awkward. Suddenly, a deafening thunderclap came from the sky, and then, a bolt of lightning flashed across the sky, illuminating the entire beach. Chloe and I stopped at the same time and looked up at the sky. It's going to rain, Chloe muttered to herself. Just then, a scream suddenly came from not far away, and the crowd began to stir. Chloe and I walked over curiously and saw a group of people gathered in one place, pointing and talking. Pushing through the crowd, I saw Ethan and Sophia lying on the beach, motionless. Their bodies were charred, and the air was filled with a burnt smell. Leo, on the other hand, stood there blankly, his eyes empty, like a soulless puppet. Someone in the crowd exclaimed, "My God, they were struck by lightning." I looked at the corpses of Ethan and Sophia, and there wasn't a ripple in my heart. It was frighteningly calm. At this moment, I noticed a ring on the beach, flashing dazzlingly in the sunlight. It was Ethan's wedding ring. He had always worn it and never taken it off. I stepped forward, picked up the ring, and held it in my palm. The cold metallic touch sent a wave of dizziness through me. It's all over. Karma. Perhaps it really exists. I threw the ring into the trash can, turned around, and walked into the distance. The sea breeze ruffled my hair, the sun shone on my face, and I felt a lightness and freedom I had never experienced before. Olivia Chen's new life has only just begun.